Welcome to Africa Media Australia. I'm Claude Shawadi. Thank you very much for watching this video. The Nigerian community in Victoria is one of the most successful African communities in the country. The Nigerian Society of Victoria is the organization that brings together Nigerians living in Victoria for social interaction, for mutual assistance and education and capacity building. This organization has been quite successful until recently, but unfortunately a recent conflict opposing the then president, Mr. Fred Alale, and the then vice president, Mrs. Temi Ajayi, has exploded to the point that the very survival of this organization is now in line, so to speak. Today I am talking to Miss Temi Ajayi, who is quite keen to straight the record straight and provide her side of the story in relation to this quite difficult conflict that is affecting the Nigerian Society of Victoria. Ms. Temi Ajayi, thank you very much for your time to Africa Media Australia. Tell us a little bit about the Nigerian Society of Victoria.
I was elected as the Vice President of the Association 2017, 29th of 7 to be precise, and but I'm now gone, resigned.
Tell us why you resigned.
Well, there's a little bit of history there. The background history was I was elected as the Vice President. I went in specifically with my manifesto to be able to dispense communication to the community, because people have been things have been hidden away from them. Communication is not flowing. So the purpose of me going there is to disseminate information, is to correct some anomalies that has been there, and things that, that there's been mismanagement of our fund and inconsistency in the marginalization of some sort. So couple of reasons there was queries and frustration in the community, and that came to my notice. That's one of the reasons why I contested. Obviously,
you got elected as the vice president, and then after the elections, what happened?
Well, this is the background was going on. Like I said, I went there, and firsthand I saw obviously a couple of the things that they were saying was correct. So I had to face those things straight on. I challenged the president then, and that this will not go on, because this is one of the reasons why people are complaining and frustrated in the community. I challenged, and there was a bit of insult going on there on the day we were having a meeting, to be precise. And at the meeting, I was insulted, almost assaulted, and so I had to speak out. When I spoke out, the executives now said, because I actually sent emails to the community to let them know what has transpired at the meeting. Now, the meeting, I wasn't initially insulted. The community were insulted by the president. It was calling them all sort of names like F and all this. So I challenged that, and then it faced me as well. So, and so I challenged him. I had to, it was very going physical. It was really bad. So I had to work out, send that letter out. Now, I got a letter from the executive that they were not notified. I didn't get any consent to send a letter to the community, so I was chastised for doing that. And so that was going on, and the president was suspended as well. So we both were stepped down, and there was a series of meetings that, happened afterwards to reconcile the issue. My issue was, maybe we get there later down the track, but anyway, it was managed by the committee, and the committee decided that I should apologize to the executives or community for agitation that my email caused, and that the couple of the things that I was challenging, that they should go ahead and do it, like the auditing of the accounts and the AMCF African Multicultural Festival that was originally Nigerian Society of Victoria's organization, that I wanted it back. So wow. That was supposed to be done.
Well, we'll get to that in just a moment, but let me make sure that I'm getting it right. So you had a conflict with Mr. Fred Alale that resulted into a very heated conversation between the two of you. Is that right?
By him specifically, because I walked out. I didn't utter a word. I just walked out.
And then following that incident, you subsequently sent an email to the broader community, and the executive committee of the NSV was not happy that you did so without consulting it, and that resulted in you being suspended as well.
Correct.
Do you think you did that because maybe there were some prior issues between the two of you outside of the NSV, or was the whole thing just about NSV?
It's about the society issue. My challenge was to stop him from insulting the community and to stop him from allocating funding to some organization that is not that Nigerian Society of Victoria had issues with. He took it very personally, and he was really agitated. He was really frustrated. I don't know why he took it personally, but that's what he did. We just finished our election. This was 12th of October that we had this issue. So when we did our independence, 1st of October, we had our independence. We cut the cost of the independence down drastically. And I was one of those people championing and soliciting for the prices, the ticket rate to go down, and the amount of money we spend is not necessary. So that got him really upset, because he said before I was elected, because he was once the president of the association, so he's returning officer. So he said that before I came on, he's been spending a lot of money. He's been doing 5-star independence until I came. Now I'm making him to do ramshackle independence. He actually said that on that day, and that was brewing in his mind, and that was one of the reasons why he was really upset with me.
You also mentioned the African Culture and Music Festival. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, African Music, Culture and Festival is an event that Nigerian Society of Victoria started. And have fact, I mean, it wasn't disputed anyway. The president admitted that. And a couple of the things that, you know, even the funds that we got, it was given to Nigerian Society for our event of AMCF. So we were not really aware. I mean, personally, and even our company has been supporting this AMCF, thinking it was for Nigerian Society, because that's how it started. But at a time, it was now taken away by the president and his cohort. It became an independent entity, which we weren't aware of. So that was one of my big things. I thought that was not fair, that there was no auspice agreement between Nigerian Society of Victoria and this organization. You know, I thought it was a slap on our face to have taken that organization totally out. And not just me, a whole lot of people in the community were aware, and they're really fighting for that as well.
So the African Culture and Music Festival was taken away from the NSV without any prior authorization from the executive?
No, there's nothing.
What else did you challenge beside this?
We challenged the management of the fund of the association. You know, as in sometimes the other one we did was bringing a musician costing almost $50,000. You know, we just thought we could manage our fund more appropriately than that. We thought it was irresponsibility to have done such, and few other things on, you know, similar cases that is going on, the way the money is being spent. It was not right.
Well, I remember having had an interview with Mr. Fred Alale, where he was actually talking about this very incident. He said that he invited this musician from Nigeria to come to celebrate Independence Day with the community here in Victoria, and that invitation actually was very good, because not only it helped to increase the number of members within the NSV, but it also created a financial surplus, which left the organization much better off financially speaking. Are you disputing this?
I totally dispute that. Bringing more people to the association, this is what I kept on saying to people. 2006, for example, we had about 500 Nigerian people in Victoria, not a lot of people. So now the growth is, you know, it's unbelievable the way so it's just a natural course of people wanting to belong to their community and find their people. So these things, some of these things are organic. So it's not because, in fact, one of the problem we have now majorly is because of that the ban that was brought. And it's not just we spend money, a whole lot of people in the community are actually really affected, and there was a court case even related to this issue. So it caused more problem than good as far as we're concerned. But this is the way the president saw it. He saw it as if it's a good thing. I don't know what they're benefiting from it, but for us, it's not a good thing. A whole lot of family actually walked out because the event was appalling. It wasn't family-friendly event at all. That's not what our association is meant to be for.
I would imagine that the decision to bring a musician and pay so much money would have been discussed and approved by the executive committee at the time. Is that right?
Well, we're not sure. We're not sure.
Now, despite these issues, it appears that at some stage you and Fred were able to reconcile. Is that right?
That's correct. We reconciled. The night of the first meeting we had with the committee that were deliberating on the case, mediating, so to say, Mr. Alale came to my house. I think a guy in the community who is new in town, lives around Geelong, who is a friend to him, called him that night and said, if what we said or what I said at the meeting was true, it's not a good thing for him. It's not a good sign that he should go and apologize. So the guy rang us and said, is it okay if he comes? You know, we were not going to let him come, but this guy was soliciting. We said, okay, let him come. He came to our house around midnight and he truly apologized. And subsequently, 2 days after, we had a video coverage that went viral. Everybody saw it, where he came to my house as well, second time, and apologized for everything that is done, the profane language that is used on me, and his behavior, which I accepted. So that went fine. I thought, yeah.
Then after this video, as I watched it, everything appeared fine. What happened after that?
Yeah, it's interesting. That is just the most interesting part, because after the video, I now discovered that some people are actually they're gaining from the fight. They actually don't want the fight to end. But, you know, and they constitute themselves and very angry now that, you know, Mrs. Ajayi has forgiven Fred. And I said, there are things that was put in front of us to attend to. The number one thing is for us to reconcile. Number two is to attend to AMCF. Number three is to do the audit. All those things are going. This is personal reconciliation. And they legislated that, I mean, they suggested that we go to see a mediator. So they wanted us to spend money to see a mediator. So when Fred came and apologized, and we did a video cover, everything was fine. I thought that was fine, but no, it wasn't fine by some people. They're actually taking delight in trauma.
Now, are you saying that in your community there are a lot of people who would want to see the conflict opposing you and Mr. Fred Alale to continue? If so, for what purpose?
Fantastic. That is the confusing thing. I think some people are, you know, they're doing that for petty jealousy. They're doing that because for the personal interest. They're doing that to make themselves relevant or significant. I don't even know. They're just absolute devil, I can say. It's very devilish attitude, because to forgiving is divine. When, you know, you can hate and forgive in the same sentence. It doesn't matter. This is personal. So I said, personally, if he apologized, I'm not God. I have to accept. Then let us deal with the issue. But I don't know what their interests were really. But what I discovered is these people really, they don't have the interest of the association at all. And I believe it's because they have not invested anything, no energy, no financial benefit. Look at the record, they're not there, they won't feature. So they don't even understand, or maybe some of them are not even Australian citizens or Victorian people. So they just come randomly. It's not guarded, it's not monitored. We don't know who is who. Riffraffs, whoever can just come.
Now, the Nigerian community has a very high number of very well-educated people, quite reputable. In fact, as far as I know, the Nigerian community has the highest rate of PhD holders in the whole of Australia for any community, per capita, that is. And you guys are not able to resolve this type of conflict that you can actually expect that would happen within community settings. Yeah,
that's the shameful part of it. That's what I kept on saying, that evil that you overlook is the evil that you accept. If you walk away and do nothing, this is what you get. I mean, that's why the whole African community is in a shambles today. Nigeria is not different. Even Nigeria, back home in Nigeria, this is just microcosm of Nigeria. This is what they do. Good people don't come out. They're too busy doing their own thing, and they just can't be bothered because they're fine. They don't need to be part of the community to be somebody. But I believe that we're building this for the future. Even Australian government is happy for us to come together as a community to celebrate one another. But this aspect is not bought by some of our elite or educated fellow in the community. But we need same people. We need people of integrity to really come out. And I've been talking to a few of them in the background. Please come out. They just said to me, you know, Temi, is a waste of time. You're wasting your time with Nigerian people. And I haven't proven them wrong.
And do you know why these wise and highly reputable and educated people are not willing to involve themselves and trying to help the community advance?
See, because of things that what happened to me, for blowing whistle, for spearheading what all of them have been talking on the ground, and I'm still penalized for it. There's no reward for somebody that in the midst of frustration, agitation, all sort of things, I went ahead and I tackled it. I thought I'm being a catalyst for positive change in the community. But this is how I got treated. So these people are very careful. They don't want to be insulted by some, uncalled for. And these sort of people, they don't want to be insulted. So I think that's why they just guiding themselves not to pull themselves down.
Then, knowing all of this, you still resign. Why?
I resigned because my main motive of writing the letter, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned, we actually asked for people to sign petition for emergency meeting, which we did. So we did this meeting, about 200 people turn up. And then what they suggested was what I said, the three things. The AMCF needs to be dealt with. We need to get that back. Our account, we have to do audit 5 years, prior. And also we need to mediate. Those three things were the thing that was suggested at the 13th of January, or when did we do the first meeting? And they called for the second meeting. All that was put in the bin. And they said we probably need to dissolve the executives. I don't know why. We asked why. They said because some people resigned. People can resign and a lot of people resign for a lot of reasons. Some people moved away because they went back to where they're from. Some people resign, maybe they go home to look after their children. People can resign. You don't need to dissolve the whole executives. That's what they're doing. And why was I stepped down, by the way? Why was I stepped down for blowing the whistle? There's really no reason under the sun why I should be down. So I was asking, so now that I've reconciled with Mr. Alale, why can't I come back to the office? Have I committed any offense? They said the president should step down because they want to do the audits, and for best practice, they reckon it's not wise for him to be there. So that's fair enough. And why they do that 1 or 2 months, if he's not found guilty, he can come back to the office. We need to deal with the issue. So I was upset, number one, that I wasn't called back to the office. I don't know the reason why. When all of them were championing me, hallelujah, hallelujah, that, this is what they wanted to say. They didn't know how to say it. They never had the guts to face the president to talk to him. Now they're jubilating that I did it. So why can't I go back to the office? They can't tell me why. They said they want to dissolve the association. I thought that is uncalled for. Some faceless people and I just think they're very ignorant, and they just say sickling, really. And they like I said, they have not invested any moral, nothing into the association, so they don't know what it costs to build it to where it got to. By the way, in 2006, before my husband became the president, the whole thing was died. We finish meeting, we do this independence. I will be packing chairs and tables and mopping the floor myself. Did a jack of work that I did. So I know what it is to build an association to where it is before they came down and start to enjoy the benefits. And so I really don't want it to go down. And I guess if they haven't done that, they will not have the same passion that I have. So I'm very passionate about it.
Now, Fred Alale, at least from outside, appears to be quite a dynamic, smart and efficient leader who's achieved quite a lot. And in my view, there appears to be no clear indication that he's done anything wrong other than being involved in a conflict with you. So why would you want to get rid of him in that sort of context?
Yeah. Apart from being involved in the conflict with me, I've got some evidence of things, anomalies, really. There's some ambiguities, and there are some things that are not right that happened and continue to happen. It's a fact. So we cannot deny that. But like you said, he's very agile, he's passionate, he's energetic, he's smart, he's everything. And I acknowledge that. And that's what I'm saying we should not throw the baby out with the water. I think we should deal with the issue and not the person, because there's a whole lot of benefit that it can bring to the table. Some of the things that happened, maybe it confined that some of them were not intentional, or he wasn't the only one that was involved in the act, and he didn't know, you know what I mean? So really, we can correct that and we can still use the people. That is one of my things. That is what I believe. My idea of doing what I do was not to win shunt anybody. is to deal with issue, because a lot of people, I can tell you now, are really frustrated. The committee has already recommended some things to do. Let us go through those things. Why is there? Now it's gone, so best of luck to them. I don't know what they're going to do now.
Now, we have seen this in many African communities before, where there is a problem in the community. Rather than address issues with any leader or any executive member, quickly people attack the person rather than address the issues or the behaviors, and that usually end up in the person being sort of pushed out, even though there may not be anybody else to take over and help the community to move forward. Is this what is happening within the NSV as well? I believe
that's what is happening. You know, the last minute meeting we had, one gentleman stood up and said, he actually defined myself and Fred as like petrol and lighter or something, that these two people are firebrand, but if you help them and you use them wisely, you get the best executive. I think our executive will have been the best ever, truly, because Fred is passionate, there's no doubt. I'm extremely passionate. We can work together and tirelessly. You know, for example, the independence that went forth, I know what I did. The whole drink that we used that night, I bought them. The MC, I got it. The food person, I can work tirelessly, same as the president. So we could have worked together really well. So, but they lost both of us now. So,
now, are we seeing the last days of the NSV?
It makes me, I bleed. I really bleed, because apart from, I need to say, apart from my husband being the president in 2007, I was the treasurer of the association 2009, 2011. We've really worked. One event we did at the zoo, I can never forget. You know, we were ringing, the executive were ringing ourselves. Can you bring drinks? Can you, with our money? Everybody was coming with, can you bring some small sausages? Can you bring? We were doing very well. The zoo was full of people. We've done snow. We've done a couple of events that was fantastic with buses. We were having fun. So we worked so hard to get it to where it is. And anyone can challenge me how much they've done. If they've done both financially, maybe one or two people will stand and say financially we beat you. One or two, that's it, in the whole Nigerian Society of Victoria. So they can challenge us. Physically, financially, morally, mentally, everything we've invested. So to say it's hitting the end, it's going to make me bleed. I just pray it's not. But
is there a way to salvage anything?
I don't know. And this is the T-junction that I don't know. To salvage it, I don't know. I really don't know.
Have you personally attempted to do anything to try to ensure that even though you and Mr. Alale may be gone, that this organization will survive, but for the benefit of the broader Nigerian community?
Yeah, well, I've got a couple of emails from the community members saying that, they really wanted me back. They really want me to be there. They voted me in for what I've done. But, sometimes people will say, be yourself. We want you to be yourself. We admire who you are. And then they judge you at the back for being you are. So it's really confusing. To be able to participate in Nigerian Society of Victoria, we will have to go through a lot of education session. And we really need, seriously, because I think a whole lot of people are very ignorant. People don't know who is who. Some person is left this country for 19 years, doesn't even know what is happening. He just came through the door yesterday and is sitting to deliberate on the executive, on the meeting, on the executive that he's got no idea. He doesn't even know anything. We were talking about bully, that, we have been bullied. Even the president admitted that he's been shunning me and all that. It's been bullying. And this guy was standing up to define bully in the presence of Nigerian society community, defining bully like a fool. You can never believe it. Like a fool. So we need to educate people, because it's risky if you work with people that are extremely ignorant. It's very risky. They don't understand. It's like getting a nurse to go, somebody who is an amateur, to go and do a job of a doctor or a nurse. They will just kill people. So educate the executives as well. It's very, very important, and to be very selective on who you get to be leaders. Age does not mean, it's not all elderly people that are wise. Some of them, if you are not godly, you don't have fear of God, you don't get wisdom. You might be smart, you will not be wise, because wisdom only comes from heaven.
I see a lot of African community organizations and businesses that seem to be doing quite well, and then all of a sudden something happens and everything is gone. Is this what is happening with NSV as well?
It's sad. It's really sad. But what I reckon is, I believe we should speak. I believe we should speak civilly. This is the Western world. We've been here for 20 odd years. Let's talk challenge issue, but we don't need to fight. We need to learn until we learn all these things. And if you say, and don't be biased or don't be sectional when you come to community issue. You might hate Temi, but you love community. So your interest is actually community, not Temi. Put Temi aside. Is Temi manifesto, is it working to advance the community? If the answer is yes, you're a supporter. You can be, we don't need to be a constituent. We can be, we will be a constituent, but we don't need to be confident. You see, so we're channeling our effort towards the benefit of the community. So people need to understand your interest is community. Put Temi aside. All Temi is there is to serve, is to work. I'm not more important that I'm serving you. So meaning that if there's a meeting, Temi is giving you a chair before she actually sits down. That's the duty of the president or the executives, not a leader. But some people are myopic, and I think they just think executive, that makes you the king, because we're coming from the kingship kind of a thing,
Tell me, is there any division along ethnic lines that may be fueling this conflict?
Who knows? Some people, we're there as Nigerian, but some people are not even Nigerians, you see? They said they're not Nigerians, but they're there, and they talk to Nigeria. So that's the thing too. So if you're not a Nigerian, why do you have interest in Nigerian issue? So this could be playing at the back of, see, some of us, we're just one-way traffic. We love community, we die for community. We don't have any ethnic issue, anything, no sectionalization, nothing. We're just head on straight, love everybody equally, believing, okay, if you're there, we're one. But some people, you're right, they're there and they're not there. They're outsider, insider.
Now, as we approach the end of this interview, Ms. Ajayi, let me ask you, what are some of the key messages you would like to leave our audiences with?
Right, the key messages I want to leave is, this story, I just want to disabuse the mind of people that might be having some unfounded story. It's my story. I started it. I sent the letter. I called for the emergency meeting. I challenged the status quo. I'm doing all the sort of things. So it's my story. So I thought it's better to say my story and what the aim of it was. So also, if you want to fight as a person, you need to be able to fight. Be ready to fight to the end on your own. Ready to fight to the end on your own. Because the people that you think are in your constituency, they will disappoint you. They either coward out, flee, or sit on the fence. You have to be ready that the people that you trust over time, it will reveal to you that they don't have any iota of truth, integrity in them. And also, if you believe in something, pursue it. Pursue it to the end. I've got no regret. Will I do it again? Yes, I'll do it again. So I want people to know, don't cower in. Don't let people bully you into silence, because silence will make you a victim. You don't want to be a victim. Speak out. Power and success could flee, could be fleeting. So what you need to do is really to run any community. I say this every time. You have to love people and you have to fear God. You have to have God. If you don't have God in you, where is the wisdom going to come from? How can you manage the community? You can't. So all these things will fade away. But what will remain is your light. It's your secret, but they don't know it. So keep it shining.
Well, Ms. Temi Ajayi, thank you very much for your time to Africa Media Australia. We do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about this obviously quite difficult issue that is affecting your community. We hope that somehow a solution will be found and the NSV will not only survive, but will strive again for the benefit of the Nigerian community now and in the future.
I pray.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.